Texas Pecan Gourmet Coffee. Sleek new design, same bold flavor. Fill your cup with the flavor of pecan and cocoa. The only gourmet coffee you'll ever need. Handcrafted, slow roasted, perfection. Our coffee provides a comforting experience for any time of day. Start with Texas Pecan and savor the heartland in each brew. Get yours now at monkeywerx.com.
All right, welcome, monkeys. This is going to be your sit rep. It's 10/16/2025. Coming to you live here from the Monkey Lounge in the great state of Texas. So, look, today we're going to be talking about this Tennessee factory, but I'm also going to look at some trend data because there's a lot of things that have happened to our, and not just our, but NATO as a whole. Their ability to produce, it's absolutely staggering. And if you look at all the articles that have taken shape over the last couple years, definitely some trends happening here, and it's a direct impact on our ability to produce weapons. And so you look at us feeding Ukraine throughout their war, which continues today, and you look at the amount of product that we've pushed into the theater there, and not just us, but NATO, and then you watch all of the explosions of our plants happening, fires, whatever it may be, things being taken offline. We don't have the ability to reproduce it in a timely manner, and it's causing shortages to our own detriment by feeding the Ukrainian war. And so, not a good situation to be in. I've talked about this in the past sit reps, but today we're going to look at the aggregate. I'm just going to pull it all together and just show you what has been happening since the Ukraine war started. And we may even look at some stuff that predates it just a little bit, because I will tell you the uptick has been astronomical. Now, what is the cause behind it? Could it be sabotage? Quite likely, actually. Could it be fatigue? Because people are having to produce and work a lot of hours and they're just making stupid mistakes. Possible. Maybe it's a couple of factors together, right? All combined, we're seeing this massive uptick in, plant explosions. So let's get into the deets. Hey, look, before I do, I want to show you something. Have you noticed, and I put this out here, I've talked about it, just take a look at the United States skies right now and the lack of cloud cover just across the U.S. I have not seen blue skies here in Texas like I've been watching since the shutdown has happened. You tell me that there is not funding in place to go out and put stuff in our skies to cover everything up and to start causing global warming. I'm telling you, there's definitely something behind this, folks. I see it. It's not just me. I see other people reporting on it. They're noticing, hey, wait a minute. The government shut down and our skies are blue for a prolonged period. Now, I did have one come through the other day. I watched him just go across the sky, blowing stuff, and then the sky hazed up. I do believe it's an additive that they put into the fuels that is causing this. But I do find it interesting that it's the government shuts down, and now all of a sudden we are looking at blue skies all over the United States. Winky-dink? Probably not. All right. Okay. Now, let's jump on into this. You can see the skies currently up. This is all military aircraft. Just notice, again, the yellow rings, a constant. That is, well, probably 75% of the United States is covered up with some type of ISR, right? Intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. You got them high flyers. Look at the amount of balloons that are up. Now, I will tell you, I've been doing some research on these, and I'm probably going to start to push out throughout my episodes, just the capabilities of each type of the aircraft that we talk about. So just be a quick segment and just show you what exactly these aircraft can do and what they're likely doing. I did find it comical that they tried to say a lot of the balloons over our heads are training, right? Or STO, standard training operations. Just a bunch of rubbish, straight up, right? There's no way these things have been aloft for 2 years and it's all just training. They are watching us. This is all part of the Patriot Act. They are on steroids in terms of gathering data. Most of it is signal intelligence, right? So that means your cell phones, everything that's going on in these data centers, there's stuff they're catching it all right through here, and it's being processed by AI now that that has come on board, and it's very rapid. And just remember that, okay? So, all right. Now, looking at it, I've stripped out a ton of trainers. So 128 Tex 2s, 57 T38s, 45 EC45s, 15 EC35s, some Hawks. And then I took out the H60s by accident. You can see there are 25 up, which is a pretty average number now. 25 is about where we tend to fall. Used to be 6 or 8. But since the ice activities, it's absolutely stepped up. So, okay, now let's just kind of get into some of the, we're going to look at the logistics aspects. All right, when you start looking at Western Global, remember they had the main contract for picking up the 155 Mike artillery from South Korea that was being loaned, that we were taking directly. We'd bring it into Ukraine, and that's what they were using to fight the proxy war against Russia. I don't see a lot of that happening now. So it looks like we have started to bring our own capabilities online. The Army was trying to get to 100,000 rounds a month, all right? But with the Tennessee plant getting hit and taken offline, that is going to impact. The original thought was, when it came online, they said, we'll get to 100,000 rounds a month. They said, well, we're not going to quite make that. Maybe when we get to mid-2026, we can possibly get to that level. Now that the event that has taken shape in Tennessee has taken that plant offline, there's no way they're going to hit that. So now you're pushing that out, because now, I mean, it's completely gone. And I'll show you an image. They're vaporized. So that tells you now they're probably talking 2027, maybe late 2027, early 2028 before they have the numbers they need to actually go out and fight a war. That's a bad scenario to be in, right? That means you're going to have to lean on some other stuff. And I'll show you why it doesn't make a lot of sense when you start to look at all of the plants that have been taken offline. We can't fight a war, even if we wanted to. All right. So let's go into, first and foremost, I'm going to take you over to the Omni aspect. This is 10 days of Omni. Omni is a general contractor that does a lot of heavy lifting for the U.S. military. You'll notice Southeast Asia into that area, very heavy, hot and heavy into the Middle East, right? So they move everything from troops to munitions, right? Look at the flow into Europe. 10 days, folks, 10 days. A lot of stuff going into Asia, a lot of stuff into the Middle East, a lot of stuff into Europe. And then you can see the United States. You can really make out the hubs where they're picking up stuff, right, and transporting it. But look at the flow down into Central America and South America, and then look going into the USVI, Puerto Rico, right? You tell me we're not getting ready to get it on with Venezuela here pretty soon, right? And then to Alaska, Hawaii, very hot and heavy. Now, take a look at Western Global. We haven't looked at them in a while, but these are the guys that were moving a lot of the heavy stuff, right? 155 millimeter artillery from South Korea into Ukraine. But I will tell you now, look at where everything is headed, into the Middle East, around there near the Horn of Africa, right? Somalia. Okay. Now, they do move troops as well, but most of this is going to be the heavy duty stuff, right? 747 type of lifts. And then you could see just the flow in and out of the United States. I don't see anything going down to the Caribbean from them, but I do see a fair amount of stuff happening across the U.S., etc. All right, again, just look at the flow into Asia, right? And you saw Omni doing the same thing. And then there was the flow that went into the base. There's a major hub that's right there near Gibraltar in southern Spain. It's a major naval port, too. And I've been seeing a pretty significant uptick of activity going into that location as well. So, all right, let's get into what is happening out there. I'm going to show you some Just a couple of slides here. The U.S. wise, just kind of a roll up of all of the locations across the U.S. We're going to get into those news articles as I show you what's been happening there. But the key takeaway here is just notice what they make and how many, right? Most of the stuff is since the Ukraine war started. So first and foremost, the latest at the very top, right? Accurate Energetic Systems, AES, right? That's in Tennessee, completely gone. Now, they make explosive products, right? They're explosive productions, industrial explosives, and energetics. So big on the 155 millimeter, or as they say, Mike artillery, right? Then you've got Radford Army Ammunition Plant. That was another explosion, okay? What do they make? They propellants, munitions, right? And it's all manufacturing, powder processing, et cetera, right? So all the stuff that goes boom. Then you get up to Scranton Army Ammunition Plant, right? They are a production line for various ordnances. So they make all kinds of different things out of that location. Then you have the Holston Army Ammunition Plant in Tennessee, another one, propellant and energetic component production. Remember that one just popped off in recent years. Then you have Lake City Army Ammunition Plant, small arms ammunition, which is really bad. Okay. So that's just domestically in the United States. Then you get over to NATO and look at the amount as well. And like I said, most of this has taken shape since the Ukraine war started. Right? Look at the two top ones in Germany, right? They make explosives and munitions, metal components, right? So like the housings, shell housings, et cetera. And then you go to Turkey. Even Turkey's had it. Rockets and explosives plant. And then another one that makes explosives and ammunitions. And you get into Ankara, which is another one, right? It's an aerospace plant, but that one went boom or had a fire, right? We'll get into the details around all of these. Then take a look at the UK. Same thing. You've got ammunition and a depot, actually held stuff. Right. And then you have another one that took place that makes propellants. You have one that, again, another munitions assembly plant. Like it's happening all across, Europe, right? Missiles and munitions and pyrotechnics. So just absolutely, that was Bulgaria at the very bottom. But it has been an absolute trend happening. Okay. So let me take you now over here. We're going to start going through some of the news cycle. One of the things I did want to point out just before we get into all of this, would you look at the world and the amount of just red boxes and yellow boxes? It is almost everything is covered up. Like there's small areas like Mongolia and China doesn't really show a lot. I'm sure they have their own. We just don't see it. South America's starting to bubble in. Australia's got a bunch. Like this paints the picture of where we are today on a war footing. It's absolutely incredible how much stuff is going on out there with exercises and area danger boxes, etc. All right. Okay. So let's get into the Tennessee thing. This death toll has kind of fluctuated. They had people that just, they vaporized. They don't know. They were trying to figure out how many were actually in there, what happened. So this is now been lowered down. It's 16 that have basically been accounted for that were killed in this. 16. Absolutely insane. All right. And you can see here's another, this is the report. I did talk to it that happened in 2014. That was another a small ammunition explosion at the same plant in 2014, killing one person, injuring three. So again, it's not uncommon, but this one, I will tell you, they haven't ruled out foul play. They feel like something is definitely up with what we have just witnessed. Now, what to know about the blast from Tennessee explosive plant left no survivors. You can see it's just completely gone. So 16 people, absolutely insane. Let me see if we get any other images. People heard it from around the area, and you can see just bent. Like, I mean, that was a vehicle in there. Look at this right here. That truck just completely burned. But Looks like literally a bomb went off, right? So you get down though, but there was a note that they said, this has probably been one of the most devastating situations I've been on in my career. This is coming from the sheriff of, his name's Chris Davis there of Humphreys County. But they are still saying they have not ruled out foul play. The problem they're running into is that this is going to be a slow process. They have to slowly go through all of this because they said there's still stuff in there that hasn't exploded that can explode. So it's a very dangerous situation. So you can imagine, but it says here it could be days, weeks, or even months before foul play is ruled out. Right. Absolutely insane, but let's keep going. All right. Now, no one physically harmed in Virginia Army ammunition plant. Now, we talked about these, right? This is the Radford. Now, this goes back to February 28th, 2025. Again, since the Ukraine stuff, look at the amount. I'm going to go across probably almost 20 stories just to show you that there is some trend data here, folks. Absolutely something is not right about any of this, right? This says producing ammunition is a dangerous business. Many safety protocols are put into place to ensure operators are exposed to as little danger as possible. Yeah, all it takes is you may be the most astute in the world at making something that goes boom. But, we look at the folks out there in companies that are having a hard time retaining people, finding people that know what they're doing. They have to bring them online. They have to train them. And then they run into situations like this where, somebody just makes a simple mistake because, they don't really know what they're doing. And it doesn't take much to set something off. And again, this is an Army ammunition plant, right? That was from, again, earlier this year, February 28th, 2025, right? You keep going. And so then we go to Scranton, right? The Army ammunition plant, where fire crews respond to a plant along Cedar Avenue in Scranton just 10 a.m. on Monday. Now, this was back from September 23rd, 2024. And it says a small fire damaged part of a munition plant. And again, look at this. The fire comes just days after Ukrainian President Zelensky visited the plant. Now, what are the odds of that? Right? The guy shows up. The next thing you know, you kind of will start to see the trend here. Most of these are places that produce stuff for Ukraine. Okay. And then here we go. Still no answers 1 year after the Holston Army ammunition plant explosion. And that is Kingport, Tennessee, right? And it says it's been a year since the explosion happened. Representative from BAE Systems, which runs the plants, are still giving no answers. Statement after statement from them has been very familiar. The accident remains under investigation. Okay, so you can see they still don't know what happened. That tells you there's something's definitely amiss here. But BAE Systems here in Tennessee running that particular one. This is from December 27th, again, a year after. So, all right. Workers mixed primer before the deadly explosion at an Army ammo plant. And again, a primer mixing was going on. This is what they say. So there's a chemical mix process that occurs, the form of the compound, and goes into a primer. And that goes boom. So, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely crazy that this is tied to orbital ATK. Okay. Again, another plant. And the date on this, April 12th, 2017. So that's about as far back as we go in this. All right. And then BAE Systems investigating explosion at its Welsh munition site. That's from April 17th, 2024. Again, BAE Systems comes up. As you can see, just yet another munitions plant explosion. Explosion rocks Dow Defense explosive plant in Germany. And this from August 30th, and this is 2024 as well. And again, we looked at the stuff that these folks are producing. Massive fire broke out. It's a metal applications plant. So continue to go on, but 2 people seriously injured. So it's not about, the people that have been losing their lives and all of this. It really comes down to the capability being taken offline. We'll continue on because it just keeps going. So this is from June 10th, 2024, and it's an explosion and a fire at an armament plant in Poland kills 1 person and injures another. So this is an armament plant that took shape. This is coming out of Warsaw, Poland. This is a huge tragedy for the Polish armaments group. The group said on its website is investigating was underway. The plant is a manufacturer of ammunition, including missiles, right, south of the capital. All right, let's keep going. Now, next piece, Romania, right? This is a media, says the arms plant, Romanian media says arms plant blast kills 4, injures 4 more. Explosion on Thursday at a weapons factory in a small southern town of Romania killed 4 and injured another 4. The blast occurred in this little town. It's 125 miles away from the capital, Bucharest. But again, according to the website, the plant's parent company says the factory is a certified supplier for the Romanian Ministry of Defense and NATO. Okay, let's keep going. Again, another one. Romania, over 100,000 cartridges destroyed after fire at an ammunition warehouse in central Romania. So roughly 130,000 cartridges prepared for delivery were destroyed. Now, the key is where was it headed? But let me see here. Roughly 400,000 cartridges were stored in the destroyed warehouse. So this is an ammo depot that they had. So they manufacture it, then they store it in this warehouse, and 130,000 rounds went by. That is August 4th, 2025. Explosion at a Bulgarian arms factory set to export to Ukraine. Okay, seeing the trend, NATO, Ukraine. All right, ammunition warehouses in the Bulgarian arms company EMKO exploded early Sunday. The warehouse that exploded Sunday were targeted a year ago in an instance of sabotage. Okay, so now we've started to see that part, right? Somebody tried to sabotage it. Okay. And then overnight explosion rocks an ammunition depot in Bulgaria. So you've got munitions factories, you've got depots, you've got warehouse storage, all going boom. Now, this is July 31st, and I think that is also 2022. All right. So this is shortly after everything kicked off with Ukraine. But it just, again, the trend continues on. So now it says here, Bulgarian prosecutors said in April 2021, there's a reasonable assumption that the blasts were rocked 4 warehouses and production facilities in Bulgaria between 2011 and 2020 were connected to a near fatal poisoning. This particular same guy. Wow. Okay. Strange things happening over there. All right. Again, 1 dead, 2 missing in a blast. Bulgarian arms workshop, October 4th, 2022. All right. Keep going. Explosion in a munitions warehouse injures 1 in, this is Poland, right? Arms plant. And I say Poland, sorry about that. It is Chechnya. And the explosion rocked the premises in eastern Chechnya on Tuesday morning. And it says the plant operated by the STV group specializes in large caliber ammunition and military equipment. Again, when these things happen, these explosions, it takes the plant offline, sometimes for a very long period. This isn't something that gets put back up in a month, right? It could take a year because they have to investigate, then they have to go through and update their processes, and they got to build it, right? So, and then they got to retool. Sometimes it's several years. All right, October 29th, 2024, fire breaks out at a Slavic factory producing artillery shells for Ukraine. There we go, 155 millimeter, just like the one in Tennessee. Okay. All right. Deadly blast rocks explosives factory in Turkey's capital. Says at least 5 workers have been killed in an explosion at MKE rocket and explosives factory in Ankara. So, again, you see the trends here, folks. Just one after another after another. And yet, 11 people killed in explosives factory blast in Turkey. Another one, December 24th, 2024. So the headlines just keep on keeping on. Kurdish militant claims responsibility for the deadly attack on a Turkish defense firm. So you can see now, look at this, another place just leveled, right? This October 25th, 2024. And now you've got people, militants, claiming responsibility for taking out these locations. And then look at this, all right? Another one, police investigate possible drone sightings in a no-fly zone near explosives plant. Police became aware of the matter last week. And this is in Finland, right? And you go back, this is January 21st, 2025. So that's this year as well. Again, trend after trend after trend. Multiple drone sightings reported near Finnish gunpowder factory. Okay. Police are investigating several possible unauthorized drones. So what they're doing is they're getting a lay of the land, understanding what is the potential. Now, I will tell you, I actually did some time when I was working for a defense contractor in Germany at a plant looked very similar to this in one of the the Black Forest type area. And it's crazy, you know, the stuff that they work on there. And around the clock, you have these controlled things where they're testing the product and your walls would shake periodically. And there were times where they would actually put on a red, siren and a klaxon, right? And tell you basically hunker down, right? They wouldn't let you outside. You couldn't be walking around on the grounds. You had to stay indoors while they tested some larger explosives. But this is what they look like. You know, it's Germany looks the same way. Okay. All right. Again, Finland. So, all right. Well, listen, that right there is going to do it for today. As you can see, the trend analysis shows you there have been some very strange occurrences afoot. You can see there is evidence of sabotage. So it makes you really wonder what's going on here domestically in the United States as capabilities are taken offline. There's got to be something to it. Way too much of a coincidence to have this stuff happen. A lot of it in just the last year and a half, 2 years. Just absolutely amazing how much I was able to show you. So, all right, buckle up, folks. Keep that powder dry and stay frosty. We'll talk to you on the other side. God bless. Monkey out.